So learn from the beaver. So the Most High created the heavens, the earth, the seas, the creatures, okay? And then he rested. Now, he knew the humans would be so stupid, they would never listen to God, they would never obey God. So, what we must do is, okay, if we are to know the proper calendar, we have to know the days of the week. Satan does not want people keeping the Sabbath. Satan does not want people keeping the Sabbath. And in the summer, that's portal number 5, number 6. Okay, then it comes to portal number 7. So we'll submit to you that the book of Enoch says it stops at portal number 6, but it makes more sense to have the portal be number 7. The lunar calendar, you can't do that because there's 29.5 days in a lunar cycle. So what that means is you have 1 month will, be on the new moon, okay? And you count 29 days. Okay, the next month, if you start on the new moon, it'll be 30 days. Satan does not want people keeping the Sabbath. So the Most High created the heavens, the earth, the seas of creatures, okay? And then he rested. Now, he knew the humans would be so stupid, they would never listen to God, they would never obey God.
We're live. We're back. It's Sunday. I'm pumped. I'm super excited about tonight. If Satan doesn't want people keeping the Sabbath, well, dong nabbit, we're going to figure out when the Sabbath is, what the Sabbath is, and what we're supposed to do on that day. How you doing? I'm Ronnie Harris, always of the Limitless Channel, because I promote that with Yahawahashai, we are limitless. And I'm joined with Jason Laufenberg of Awake Souls. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm pumped for a Sunday night as well.
Yeah, why not, right?
Absolutely. Well, we got some banger material, and that was a banger opener, and we're going to continue to do some banging tonight. And it's really easy. It's really blatant. It's really obvious. I know you've mentioned that poor Leeland, and this is something that you don't want to do. But at the same time, like, how can we not do it? If we know the things that we do, and then we see and hear the things coming out of certain people's mouths, and we don't point out the blatant and obvious disinformation involved in it, could we even label ourselves as watchmen? You know, people that don't call out blatant disinformation and lies and, you know, wolves in sheep's clothing, they can't label themselves as watchmen if they don't do it. Like what's the use of an alarm company that doesn't tell you somebody broke in? If you go back, you know, in ancient days, what's the use of the guy up in the tower if he doesn't say, I see an enemy, right? And sound the alarm. So we have to do it. It's not fun, but we still try to make it as enjoyable as possible for everybody, and keep a light heart in the whole thing, and just realize that our objective is just to mow down lies, prop up truth wherever we can, and it's not personal, right? It's not that we dislike Leeland as a person or anything like that, but the stuff that he's sharing right now is way out there, like over the top, way out there. And it's on this topic of the calendar, which is one of the, so we have 4 fundamental truths that we're standing on, and we already know that we want to expand it to 5 and 6, 5th being the true Hebrew calendar, because we're looking for the day to celebrate the Lord's evening meal, not Passover like the Torah keeping Kabbalist Judaizers, but the Lord's evening meal. And so in order to find that, we need to know when Passover is, and we've been paying attention, and we've been pointing to the other channels that are paying attention and looking at what they've been doing. We had Adam Fink come along, and so he's trying to pinpoint the day of Passover. He brought in the Freemason New World Order AE map and model, which made us, you know, respond the way we did. So now we've got Leeland. He's a guy that's trying to use the Enoch calendar to pinpoint the day of Passover. And while there's good things to be learned in the video that we're going through, that we're going to let everybody know here, this is accurate information. You should know this. This is good to know stuff, you know. But one of the things that we have to do tonight is point out whether or not we even want to be using the Enochian calendar to identify Passover, right? Because we're talking about 2 different time periods. And we're going to show you the evidence that there's 2 different calendars.
Three different time periods. 3.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, I was thinking up to the day of Noah, the Enochian calendar was probably used, right? And then from Noah to Yahawahashai was another calendar, right? 2. And then the 3rd calendar is going to be when the sun and moon and stars are done away with, right? Or am I?
The 3rd calendar started after Yahawahashai's rise from the grave, right? So then we were in the 3rd dispensation, Right?
What dispensations? I'm talking about calendars.
Yeah,
as
the
far
dispensations have their own timelines and calendars. Correct.
Okay.
Yes. 100%. We're just waiting. We're on the third one. We're nearing the completion of it, right? So, and they're broken up into sections of thousands of years, right? Because the seventh day or the 7,000th, right? So we're now through over 6,000 years through the timeline. And the last day is supposed to be of rest. And as we're discussing this topic of keeping Sabbath and really understanding it, if you delve into the higher level parabolic understandings that Robert Farrell has put forth, and I've done the research and still constantly am doing the back researching on it as well, and I concur with Robert's finding, the understanding of why the seventh day was kept holy, the understanding of that was because that was going to be the millennial reign. Right, 7 days of creation. Each day is 1,000 years with the Father. That's what it says in the scriptures. So we're now entering into that seventh day, and because it was to be kept holy was because that was the day of righteousness, when all of the evil and wickedness is going to be done away with. There is another final test at the end of that 1,000 years, which we know, and then it's on to eternity. Right? So there are going to be more timelines than the ones that we're discussing, but it's definitely going to be easy for us to pin it down, calculate the when the day is equal, and then start counting forward from there using the new moons, right? So we've constantly been going over this. We're going to continue to go over this over and over again because we want to calculate the right date. That's, as Leeland was saying, that Satan doesn't want anyone to know. Well, Satan probably didn't know that Jason and I were going to come up. We were going to be born into this realm, and we were going to do the things what we've done. And everything that we've done has all been in the Father's name. Everything has been in Yahawahashai through him, right? So that's what we know. That's what we have to share. Nothing that we share is of our own, because everything that we learn is given to us from the Father. He sends it to us through his Son, Yahawahashai, the mediator. He was risen to be that. He's also the judge. So at the end of the day, that's why Jason and I, it's not only that we have to call out Leeland and call out Adam Fink from the Parable of the Vineyard. We want to be corrected where we're wrong too. What kind of a brother doesn't say, hey, you're screwing those screws 5 inches apart. They're supposed to be 16 inches on center. Here, put an X here, measure 16 inches, put an X here. Now screw it correctly. If we're out there showing, once me and Jason walk away after I show you the correct screwing pattern, it's on you now to screw correctly or screw incorrectly. And if someone's judging how you're screwing the drywall sheets, you might want to look and investigate what other people are trying to correct you on, because we constantly get, we were actually calling out people Judaizing, and they were saying that Jason and I were being the Judaizers. So, there's never a lack of interest or excitement that comes along with this. And, I'm excited. I'm really excited. The intro I felt was like a banger. I really like to use multiple different kinds of music. I hope I showcase Leeland in a good light, even though, make of it what you will. He is the one who says the words that we are going to actually go into and look. And he does writing. He makes all these charts. He's got the months written down. There's so much that we could go into, right, bro?
There is. And so he's got a couple recent videos on the topic of the calendar that we're going to do a review on. One of these, I think, is like 34 minutes long. And I really feel like that first 30 minutes of the video is worth us going through, but we should be able to speed up Leeland. He doesn't talk super fast, so we should be able to speed him up and do our commentary. So it's not going to take super long. That has to do with Sabbath. It's got the beaver video in it from the intro. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it that we're going to need to go through. And then he did another follow-up video where he re-upped the beaver footage, and he introduced a seventh gate to Enoch that he says is not there, but he's just going to add it anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't understand how the sun's path is working, so he's just inventing another portal. He calls it a portal, but we know that they're gates. And a portal is a section of the ocean where you would drive your boat through. It measures from one part of the ocean to the other. So the portal that Enoch's talking of isn't some supernatural. Well, it is supernatural. I've put my foot in my mouth. It's actually just a delineation from one point to the other in the sky. It takes the sun 30 days to cross that section. Then it moves 30 days over to the next one, 30 days over to the next one. And it goes through its cycle of 6 gates in 1 year. Right? It goes, and the Enoch and all the scriptures, we have them all. We can go through them all. I've put them up on my channel.
Yeah, so chances are we will bring up that 3D modeling thing again. We will show you where the 6 gates of Enoch are. We also want to make sure that everybody understands how to identify the equinox, because this is going to be a thing that Leeland points out is key and essential to any calendar. The equinox is super important. So how do we know when the equinox is? Well, Adam Fink told his audience to go buy a sundial, right? Because this is how you would determine when the equinox is. Now, the thing is, you don't need to go buy a sundial. You can actually just use any perpendicular post to the ground anywhere, a mailbox, a street sign, a light post, anything like that that is going to cast a shadow. You can mark where the shadow is at sunrise and where the shadow is at sunset. And we are going to demonstrate to everybody how the equinox, it's going to rise 90 degrees east, 270 degrees west, everywhere on Earth at the same, not at the same time, on the same day, right? Because the rise and sets are all different, but the angles are the same. And we're also looking for equal day and equal night. So one of the things that we're going to see as we go through this first clip is some super crazy shillery where he's going to start his calendar on a certain day, and at another point in the video he's going to contradict himself and say that the equinox is on a different day. So
hang on a second, though. There is something that I want to start off by saying before we jump into that. I'd still like a little bit more camera time here. To all the Torah keepers, right, and people that follow the law, in Isaiah 1:13, it says, "Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations, I cannot bear your worthless assemblies." It continues to say, "Your new moon feasts and your appointed festivals I hate with all my being. They become a burden to me. I am weary of bearing them." And continues on here in Isaiah 1:15. It says, "When you spread out your hands in prayer, I hide mine eyes from you. And when you offer many prayers, I am not listening. Your hands are full of blood." So when you hear scriptures like this, and then you see the actual Son of the living Most High, the Father, Yahawahashai, comes down here and actually gives us the correct way. All the people that keep the law and keep the Torah can't deny what Yahweh wrote with Isaiah, completely doing away with all of their traditions. They were done with. They were buying their offerings, not giving up the best of their flock. You were supposed to suffer. It was about suffering. And the Torah keeping, all this stuff, they don't even want to read the scriptures. They want to say, oh, Paul, let's deny Paul, because Paul actually gives salvation to everyone. So that's not Torah. They throw that out, but they deny their own books. In Isaiah, they'll deny that scripture. And I'm going to continue to say this over and over and over again to all the people Judaizing. All you're doing is enraging the Father's eyes. Like, the last thing I'm going to do is enrage him, right? I beg for forgiveness for all of my sins all the time. And I ask you guys to do the same thing and put your trust in the Son of the living Father. Everything was created through the Son. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was an Elohim. And the Word became flesh and dwelled among us. He became a man, the Word, the first creation and the last. His name is Yahawahashai. He is the way to salvation, not the Torah, not the law, not keeping your Sabbaths. They were done away with. Should I read it again? If you want to rewind and listen to what I read, please do. So, I just really wanted to get that out tonight just to start it off, because I'm so sick of people going around Judaizing. It's hard enough just to get people to open up spiritually and look into the books. But now we've got guys going around saying, oh, well, if you don't keep these laws, if you don't offer up offerings and sacrifices to these priests and do this, and it's such an abomination to the truth. I do get a little bit passionate about this because the Son of the living Father came here, didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything but love and supernaturally heal people, raise them from the dead. They beat him, they whipped him, they cut his skin apart, they put a crown of thorns in his head, they nailed him to a stake and killed him. And he died for all of our salvation. He died to save those people that weren't saved by the book, that they thought they were being saved by. And that message isn't being spoken enough. I just really wanted to start that off.
Well, and isn't it interesting that all these calendar keepers that we're covering right now, that they are Judaizers, all of them. They're all these Torah observant. They use the Yahusha and Yeshua and
Yiddish
all this
names.
kind of stuff.
They speak
the Yiddish names, and they all support Kabbalism as far as they're either heliocentric or they're AE mappa modelers, right? They're all Kabbalists. There's not a one of them that denies atomism, and so it's interesting that all those people together, the Judaizing, the obvious big beards and all this kind of stuff that they have going on, trying to do all the Hebrew reading, but it's Yiddish, it's not even real Hebrew. But this is what we have to cover, right? Because we don't have any people that aren't Judaizing actually looking at how the calendar works, the true Hebrew calendar. So we're going to continue to do it, and we're going to continue to make it obvious how you can know when it's the equinox and all this kind of stuff. We'll keep an accurate calendar. We are working our way up to the spring equinox, and we are going to set the equinox date. We are going to pinpoint the first new moon after the equinox, and we're going to be counting 15 days. It's going to be real simple, and then we're going to get to no moon, and then when we have a new moon again, month 2, and then we're going to count the days, and then we're going to the end of that, and then month 3, and we're going to do that, and we'll watch how the months come in to the next equinox as we're doing right now. So we're at the end of that cycle right now. We're going to hear about blue moons. We had a blue moon this last year. Do you think that has any sort of significance as to adding an extra month to the Hebrew calendar? Well, obviously it does. We're going to show everybody that. And so I don't know, we could get into the screen shares, and we've got like 30 minutes of that one video of his to go through, but we can speed it up a little bit. I think we might be able to do 1.5. Let me know if it's too fast. Should I get ready? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, let's do it, bro. Let's get into this. I'll get you prepared here. I'll give you the small screen share, not the large one. And we'll get into it. I'm excited.
Hello to everybody in the chat. As I get set up here.
Yeah,
So this is, can you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
All right.
So are the dogs.
I know, they're just losing it. So this is the video that we want to go through.
For some reason, I've got the cameras in the right of your screen share, and I don't understand why. Oh, never mind. I fixed that.
You had your camera on, right?
No, I just had the position in the wrong spot for the screen share.
All right, should I go full screen with this?
Let's see.
Or do you want me to leave it here?
No, it's good like that. It's good like that. You're now presented. Oh, the dogs.
All right, so this is the video. Enoch calendar, Sabbath in week leap cycle. This was published February 17th, 2021. Not enough thumbs down on this video, everybody. He's got 285 up to 7 down, and I'm one of the 7 there. We're going to go through this, and we're going to point out the obvious. And I'm sorry, Leeland, but this isn't going to look good on you.
Now, I know there's a lot of other Enoch calendars out there, and the thing is...
All right, I'll try 1 1/4. That's a little... Rewind this, let them give them a fresh start.
Okay, guys, we're going to do a series of videos on the Enoch calendar, and the most important thing with the calendar is your leap cycle. Now, I know there's a lot of other Enoch calendars out there, and the thing is, when you look at the calendar, the most difficult thing you'll find is determining what is the leap cycle or the leap week. Basically, every calendar must be adjusted. The Enoch calendar as well, it would have to have a week to adjust for the time, okay, over a certain period. But what are our criteria? Okay, we're on a series of messages on the Enoch calendar on God's appointed time, his feast. We want to be on time for the feast. We want to understand his ways, because his ways are in the time, in the calendar. It's his calendar, okay? And so we find this calendar in the book of Enoch, where it's taught to him by the angel Uriel. Now, there are certain things I want you to consider when we consider time, okay? For many of us, we're from Babylon. We follow this false calendar, and there's it has history and roots that many of the similar things in the Julian calendar actually match that of the Hebrew calendar. But the big difference is the moon. Now, we can see in Genesis 1:14, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. Let there be for signs. Okay, so signs, there will be signs, there will be indications of when to do the calendar. And for seasons. Seasons in Hebrew is moedim. It means the feasts. Okay, so there are signs, there are indications in the lights, okay, for days and for years. And he made the stars also. So we have the sun, we have the moon, and we have the stars giving us how to do the calendar. Now, what takes place there is on the fourth day. Okay, so the let there be lights in the firmament is the fourth day. And we don't have time to get into it, but day one, he said, let there be light.
All right. So this is, we keep telling everybody, we are in a simulation. And when somebody says, well, what's your proof of it biblically? What does the Bible say? This is the first thing we share with everybody. This is the simulation argument that day and night were created day one, the sun, moon, stars, day four. All right, this is the debunk of heliocentrism and atomism, Kabbalism in general, on the big scale, on the small scale. Debunked. This is the simulation argument, biblically proven, right here.
That wasn't the sun. Okay, that's not the sun, moon, and stars. That doesn't come until day 4. So in day 4, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. Okay, divide the day from the night. And that is when we start the calendar on that day 4, because that's where we see these signs. Okay, 4 days, 4 years. All right. And this then says in verse 19, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. The evening, what's the evening? The evening is when the sun is going down. Okay, that begins the day. Okay, and the morning. Okay, so the day begins in evening. All right.
All right. So this is one of those points that we have to agree with Leeland on, because there is controversy out there. There's another Judaizing YouTube channel that does calendars, and he says that the day begins at morning. That's his whole thing, right? Day begins at morning. Well, no, it's not what the scriptures say. We count the day from sunset to sunset, and Leland's correct here, and we'll support him when he's right.
Now, a lot of this is very, very simple, and you're like, Leland, you're speaking to me like a child. Well, that's because you don't do the calendar and you don't have to answer comments and questions. It's really simple, okay? The day of the week that God said, let there be lights in the firmament, is the 4th day, okay? And you might say, well, in our calendar now, how do we know? Well, how do we know that the day?
Again, I just want to point out, Jason had brought up one of our favorite proofs of being in a simulation is the fact that the sun and the moon and the stars weren't created till day 4. And the light was created on what day?
Day 1.
Thank you.
Day of the week is the proper day of the week.
Yeah, that's an interesting stop. You can stop there.
Yeah, I want to talk about this because there's a psyop that's beginning right away. So he brought up this amazing point: the day and night were created day 1, sun, moon, and stars day 4, and now he's going to take his entire calendar to day 4, day 4, day 4, day 4, and everything's going to be about Wednesday. Wednesday is the day, day 4, day 4. And so there's a huge psyop that's beginning right here. Mm-hmm. So with this connection to day 4.
Yes, because we're starting to give the days names, right? When they're supposed to be numbers, correct?
Correct. And the calendar really doesn't start on day 4. we're going to point out when the calendar actually starts. It's not on day 4. So there's bad propaganda being shed all over the place here, and we're going to point it all out.
How do we know where the Sabbath is? Because then it says in Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, and on the 7th day, Elohim ended his work, which he had made, and he rested. And he blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. So the Most High created the heavens, the earth, the seas, the creatures, okay? And then he rested. Now, he knew the humans would be so stupid, they would never listen to God. They would never obey God. So
that was in the intro, right?
Yeah, the duping delight, when people actually see what's going on here, it's bad. I want to make sure people see this initial duping delight, see where it goes, see the way he comes out of it, and it's not good, anybody.
And it's interesting that Ben Schwagel brings up that there was an 8-day week, which is interesting because that's supposed to be like the day of new creation, the 8th. That'll be the eternity type day. So the 8th day, there is an 8th day. That's correct.
Yep.
So he created everything. Now, he knew the humans would be so stupid, they would never listen to God. They would never obey God. So he created everything else to testify of his ways. Okay? So sometimes you don't look to what the humans are saying, what the humans are doing. Okay? You look to the Bible, but not only that, you look to God's creation. Oh, you might see some snowflakes going in front of the camera. I don't know if they're going in front of the camera, but it's just snowing now. So what we must do is, okay, if we are to know the proper calendar, we have to know the days of the week. All right? And of course, if you do a calendar, you'll find Satan does not want people keeping the Sabbath. Simple as that. He doesn't.
All right. So we have clips from the intro. Satan does not want people keeping Sabbath. And he says we need to know the days of the week. So he's going to tell us the days of the week, but he also let us know Satan doesn't want us to know the day of Sabbath.
Don't want people knowing what the Sabbath is and keeping it because it's blessed. The Most High blessed it. Elohim blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. Okay.
Hold on
so
one
he's going to
second.
extend all kinds of efforts and confuse.
What do I have here in Isaiah 1:14? Your new moons, feasts, and your appointed festivals I hate with all of my being. What does it say in 1:13? Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. The new moons, Sabbaths, and convocation, I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. So,
ouch.
Sorry, Judaizers.
Ouch.
Thus says Yahweh.
Fusion to make that difficult for the people to understand. The things we're going to try and do in this video, guys, is I'm going to try to take the detailed concepts of the calendar and make them simple. The most simple thing is the Sabbath. Okay? So learn from the beaver.
Learn from the beaver.
And coming from Canada, like the beaver's like one of our national like animals, right? Listen to this.
Look at the production here.
You can hear the beaver's tail whacking against the wood as it rests on the holy Sabbath day.
I guess these guys need a day off too. Why did they pick Saturday?
They can't chuck wood every day, right?
Why Saturday?
Or maybe it's just a coincidence.
Coincidence.
The only way to find out is to keep on observing through another week.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Sunday. The beavers are back.
Here comes the beaver. And like, how do we know that it's Sunday, right?
Beavers are back on Sunday.
This guy's got no documented evidence of any of the days, right? He just like, here we are on Sunday, and the beaver's now come out.
Out of the lodge.
He just filmed it whenever he could and clipped it together. But maybe,
So we'll just keep watching and see what's on their schedule.
I want to say I think I've seen beavers on Saturday, bro. I'm sorry.
Another week of observation, and the beavers were out every day, busy as
Debunked.
usual. Sunday through Friday at about the same time every day. And then,
Who on earth is going to believe that the beaver is all
Came
take off on
Saturday.
Saturday?
and just like the first week, all was quiet again. This continued on week after week, month after month, summer and winter, with the same results.
My dad has been watching these beavers for about 16 years.
We learned about beavers.
He's been getting to be kind of an expert on beaver behavior, at least with this
My
family of
dad's
beavers.
a beaver
They
expert.
seem like
She's
normal
funny.
animals, except we've never once seen them out on Saturdays.
Never.
Oh, we got testimony, right?
Isn't that amazing? I mean, think about how many times, like during the week, where you check a calendar, you check your phone to see like what day of the week it is, right? Now, how does that? You have to ask yourself, like, when we do the calendar, we're doing this. You know, I can't tell you how many times I move this thing around to the day of the week. I keep track of it, right? But like a beaver doesn't have a piece of wood in his den where he's like writing down the day of the. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying, guys. How does the
beaver know?
How does the beaver know, brother?
That's a good question, right?
That it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Saturday.
The beaver knows. It's that intelligent. And, you know, if you let it, it'll drain your bank account, take your truck and car and house. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so bad because we're going to get to the point where Leland's going to make the idea that every Saturday is one of the biggest absurdities you've ever heard of. He's going to debunk all this himself with his own words.
You know, I do want to say I've been beating up pretty hard on the Torah keepers. I still super, super love those people. And the fact that they want to keep the Sabbath just because they love it, as long as they accept and love what Yahawahashai did and realized what was done and how it was created and made, I'm so okay with people keeping the Sabbath. If you want to keep it on Saturday, if you want to keep it on Friday, if you want to keep it on Sunday, to me, all that stuff gets marked down as righteousness, right? That's I am saying that. But what I don't like is people going around Judaizing it, trying to make you follow that rule, right? That's what I'm against.
We are going to make it an absurdity to think that it would stay on a certain main day of the week from month to month. Right. So it could be on a Saturday, 1 month on our Gregorian calendar, but the next month it's not going to be for sure, guaranteed. And it's based on new moons. And he's got the evidence for it. He's going to share it.
beaver know like exactly every single Saturday for 16 years? I mean, it's just amazing. And I love stuff like that because, and if you do a search, guys, you'll find that there's a lot of animals that keep the Sabbath like that. And there's different people that, you know, keep track of it. You could do some searches on YouTube. It's great. It's very interesting. But I just think I always lose track of what day it is, but the beaver is always in his den every single Saturday, keeping the Sabbath. Okay. So it is not rocket science. Okay. There you can see the Sabbath is Saturday.
We need like some kind of an alarm sound.
It's not rocket science. The Sabbath is Saturday, and his proof
Play it again.
was the beavers.
Play that again. I think he said, play it one more time. Let's go back like 3 clicks to the left.
Okay. That is the. I always lose track of what day it is, but the beaver is always in his den every single Saturday, keeping the Sabbath. Okay, so it is not rocket science. Okay, there you can see the Sabbath is Saturday. Okay, that is the 7th day of the week. So
that was his proof. That was his proof. Quite literally, he
Wow.
has no other proof.
Just the beaver, right?
Just the beaver.
You know, I think a lot of guys in Canada are saying like, "We're with you, Leland. Let's just follow the beaver." It does happen to us, but no.
Follow the beaver. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
right?
we want to bring up certain other characteristics of the simulation that we can follow to keep these types of dates, right? New moons and the way that the sun rises and sets, the amount of daylight hours is what how we calculate the beginning of the year on one day. And then when the moon is gone, the first sliver we see as the sun sets is when we start the first of the next month, right? And it changes.
We actually mark where a shadow hits at sunrise, at the zenith of the path of the luminary, and at sunset, and that illuminates the path of the luminary around the observer. right?
Yes.
And it shows how close it is.
You just
too.
need a stick and shadows and a clock, a watch, way to calculate the hours of the day, and you're good.
That's it.
We first must know the day of the week to know when to start the calendar. Okay, so the calendar starts on the fourth day when the Most High said, "Let there be lights in the firmament." That's number one.
So he
See, that's I told you.
like why would he shoehorn that? It's on the fourth day of the month. Wouldn't the calendar start on the first?
Right? No,
like-
he says fourth because
No.
that's when the sun, moon, and stars were created.
But day and night was created first,
Right.
right?
Yeah. This is one of the psyops that he's promoting right here.
Just had to point it out.
It's pretty obvious, but hopefully everybody got it.
Number two, the calendar starts in the spring, in the northern hemisphere, of course, in Jerusalem. In the first month is Abib, Deuteronomy.
This is one of the
True.
things we absolutely agree with.
True.
Yes. Abib, first month, happens after the equinox. We're going to agree on all these things.
16:1, observe or keep the month. Now, in this video, we're going to say month, and that word in the Hebrew is Kodesh. Okay? Keep the month, the Kodesh of Abib, and keep the Passover. So there's a keeping of the month, okay, which is the first day of the month. And different from that is the keeping of the Passover, okay, which is, of course, the 14th day of the month. But when does that happen? Does that happen in the fall? Does that happen in the winter? It happens in the spring. So the year begins in the spring, okay?
We agree. Year begins in the spring.
That is very clear from the scriptures in Exodus 12:2. This month is the beginning of your months. Rosh, head, beginning. Rosh means head. Month, Kodesh. Rosh Kodesh. That's the first month of the year. Okay.
It's probably pronounced
We're going to
Ra
determine, all right,
Kodesh.
we have the fourth day of the
No.
week. We must
Not
start.
saying it
What's
right.
that?
He's pronouncing it Yiddish. It's Ra Ka Dash, like that. That's the correct way to pronounce the word.
Yeah, but remember these Judaizers, what they do is they sit here and they translate our English words into Yiddish. It's part of the Judaizing tactic. Don't forget that.
Start every year on the fourth day of the week. We must start every year in the spring. And time's sake, we don't have time, but if you look at Genesis, if you go through the story with Noah, you'll see that it talks precisely about 30 days in the month. Okay? It says that, I believe it's the second month and 17th day. I think it's a rain start. I may not quote this exact, guys, but basically the second month in the 17th day, then it says 5 months. It says in those 5 months, it's exactly 150 days to the 17th day of the 7th month. So what you have is you have precisely 5 months, okay, with 30 days in each month. All right? Now, that, of course, presents challenges to everybody's calendar.
Boom.
No, it does. Because
Yeah.
because I want to completely explain. So the days of the months are the same, but when they start and end are different because within a 19-year cycle, the moon does a bunch of things that are extraordinary. She doesn't keep a steady path. She does things on the Creator's timeline, and we have to follow her so that we know when to adjust it. And that's how we reckon it. So you can't have a fixed calendar. It's impossible.
Well, and we're going to see that there's a stark difference between the Enoch calendar and the one that was used for the pinpointing of the Hebrew festival days. These have to be two different calendars, and the words that prove it are going to be coming out of his mouth real soon, and he's already admitting the issue. This is key, important stuff. In fact, I want to slow this down here, and I'm going to rewind it. And this right here is the source of the debunk of his Saturday Sabbath. It's going to be his own words coming out of his own mouth right here.
Day of the 7th month. So what you have is you have precisely 5 months, okay, with 30 days in each month. All right?
He's talking about the Enochian calendar. The Enochian calendar has precisely 30 days in each month, 5 months, 150 days. We're talking about the Enochian calendar, but he's going to point out how this obviously does not work with the Hebrew calendar. Listen.
Now, that, of course, presents challenges to everybody's calendar, because you can say, well, that was just between the 2nd and 7th. No. It's a calendar of 360 days in the year. All right?
Calendar of 360 days in the year. All right. Yes, that is the Enochian calendar. Plus there's 4 extra days, which are the equinoxes and solstices. That gets you to 364. It's different than the Hebrew calendar. Listen.
Now, in order to achieve that, we have to use the Enoch calendar. Okay? The lunar calendar, you can't do that because there's 29.5 days in a lunar cycle. So what that means is you have 1 month will, be on the new moon. Okay?
All months start with a new moon, not 1 month. All months start on a new moon, and he's going to let you know how long it's going to last.
And you count 29 days. Okay, the next month, if you start on the new moon, it'll be 30 days. Now, if you have 20...
All right. 29 days, 39 days. 29 days, 30 days. 29 days, 30 days. It averages out to 29 and a half days, but every month goes 29 days, 30 days. 29 days, 30 days. That's...
be on the new moon, okay? And you count 29 days. Okay, the next month, if you start on the new moon, it'll be 30 days. Now, if you have 29 days and 30 days in a year, you end up with 354 days. So that's not 360 days, is it? No. So that's 360 days. That is not what the scriptures are saying. It said there were 150 days, precisely 30 days in a month.
So it's obvious there is a difference between the Hebrew calendar and the Enochian calendar. It's obvious because the Hebrew calendar goes by new moons. New moons happen either 29 days or 30 days, 29 days or 30 days. The Enochian calendar is set up where it's 12 equal months of 30 days, plus you have the solstices and the equinoxes that make it to 364. This is very close. Now the equinox is going to even out the start every single year on the Enochian calendar. The equinox is used in the Hebrew calendar for the reckoning of the months. You're never gonna move years between the two calendars, because you're recognizing the equinox, right? You're never going to just miss a year. You're going to have more years or less years or anything like that. They'll always reckon out, but there's 2 different ways of counting the days. The Enochian was 364 days, and they had to do something. Well, the equinox sets it, right? So you get to your next equinox, you start out day 1, boom, 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 boom. Count up to 364. On the Hebrew calendar, you're waiting for the new moon after the equinox, and then you're always following the lunar cycle. So the idea that he's pushing people to the Enochian calendar right here is part of the psyop. That calendar can't be the one that we use for finding the Hebrew festival days. Can't be. It doesn't work that way.
So,
Now,
Sorry?
just before, so Seth has said that he likes some of what Leland's covering. He said, this guy is or was homeless, but lives obvious, fulfilling life. He has that little space there. It looks an abandoned building. He always has good props and things in his videos. He does do interesting teachings, right? But what Jason and I see constantly throughout his content is misleading or disinformation. And we don't know if we test all spirits. Leland could be saying to us that he's homeless and he could be living somewhere else, and that's his studio where he's filming his videos. We don't know. All we know is what the things that come out of his mouth, right? So clearly he's trying to do something here. He seems nice. A lot of these guys come to you as wolf in sheep's clothing, and that's why we have to go through the content and call it out. And if we find somewhere where there can be a correction, we offer our advice. Like his drawings that he created that we're going to see later, it's all Kabbalism. It's all witchcraft, really. And we expose it. Now, I don't have anything personally against Leeland as a man. He seems like a nice guy who loves the scriptures. He does a lot of time into this. We went over this. I know Seth probably missed the intro where Jason said, this is nothing personal. This is just about the truth. That's all Jason and I ever care about. It's not about ego. It's not about views. Obviously, it's not about that, or we wouldn't be here so much with the views that they give us. This is just about the content that he's talking about and what we need to show people that where it's not correct, because that's our job, right? As watchmen, we're all called to call out disinformation, right?
Well, and that's the point. We're actually pointing out the areas where he does speak truth. Right? As we're going through this, we're pointing out the things that he says are true, that you do need to stand on. This is accurate information. What we're doing is just pointing out the things that are obviously wrong, impossible, and satanic disinformation. That's all. And if you look at the thumbnail, that picture of Leeland Jones is at the Temple Mount, at the sacrifice. There was only 2 YouTubers that were at that event, and Leeland was one of them. So he's a super involved Kabbalistic shill. He's not just an accident. If I had to guess, I would pinpoint him as 8,200.
What we need is the Enoch calendar is what we're getting at, okay? So the Enoch calendar does that. Same thing in Revelation. Okay, you have the woman clothed with the sun. She's clothed with the sun, so we have the sun. The moon is at her feet, and she had a crown of 12 stars. Well, that's the same thing we saw in Revelation. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Okay, you have the signs, in the firmament, and the lights in the firmament, having the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay, all of those contribute to the time. And then she went into the wilderness, 1,260 days. That's 30 days in each month, 30 days in each month. Okay, so we need the Enoch calendar to do that. Now,
you don't need the Enoch calendar to do that. So 3.5 years based off of the lunar calendar, you can still get to that. It doesn't have to be the Enoch calendar. The Enoch's 30 days a month, yes, but 29, 30, I don't know. That's something that we actually need to do the math on, but 3.5 years can be done on the Hebrew calendar as well. That's how you go festival to festival, right? That's the Dr. Barry Awe that we watched, that when you go 3.5, when you go even in the 13-month years, all that kind of stuff. So there's something to be tested there.
the Enoch calendar, okay, so what we found out that in order to do the calendar, you start on the 4th day. The first day of the month is in the spring. So how do we start the year? Well, we can see that we can't start the year based on the moon only, okay? You can't have every month be the moon because it's not enough days. So in the Enoch calendar, you start the year on the spring equinox. Enoch chapter 72, verse 18, the sun rising in the 4th portal. Okay, 31 day, the 31st day, or 31, on account of its sign. Okay, the sign, there's 4 signs in the year. Those signs are the, what we call the solar cycle, the equinox and the solstice. There's 4 of those in the year, okay?
Notice that they don't explain to people how to identify those days. We show people how you can do it with a stick and watch the shadow. That's how you can identify the equinox and the solstices.
And on that day, it's a day of equal daytime and equal nighttime, 12 hours and 12 hours, okay? And it is...
Got to pause?
Yeah, also notice that that equal day and equal night is also your 90 degrees east sunrise, 270 degrees west sunset, right?
Yes, bang that home, bro. What is it? 90 degrees due east. When the sun rises, you point your compass at it. When it sets, it'll be 270 degrees due west.
And that debunks the AE
Everywhere.
model?
Wait, everywhere on Earth.
And it debunks the globe.
It kills it. It destroys any model that you've ever seen, except for the one that we're going to present with the circle of sight and the 6 gates, spoken of exactly in Enoch.
Exactly, it says exactly to 364. So in the Enoch calendar, it says in Enoch 75, verse 1 and 2, there are 4 leaders to do with the 4 intercalary days, those solar days, okay, according to the reckoning of the year. These 4 days are not counted in the year. So if they're not counted in the year, that means you have 360 days in a year. All right, but they do exist. Okay, it's not like you count 363 in your years; they're there. But in the reckoning of the time of the prophetic days, there's 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. Okay, so what we can see is on the day of equal sunlight and nighttime. Okay, that's when you start the year. Okay, that's the completion or coming to the completion of the 364 days in the year. That begins your first month. Okay, so the 4th portal, what that means is that's a time period of the year. That 4th portal, when that happens, that's a spring equinox. That begins your year. So we must have the 4th day. We must have the springtime. We must have the spring equinox. Okay. Now, another thing in the Dead Sea Scrolls that, when I researched this calendar, what I found there, some of the information I found just in the Dead Sea Scrolls, okay, I can also prove this by the scripture through time, okay, but when I went to do this, what I found is they also did use the moon in determining this first year, okay, so they gave us an example of a calendar that lasted, they have a calendar every single month, they tracked the Enoch calendar, okay, and in that calendar, they recorded the moon cycle, and that
the moon cycle, right? That's what they recorded, was the moon cycle. Lock that in, the moon cycle.
Moon cycle contributed to their first year. So they recorded year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's 6 years that they recorded. They recorded the moon. They recorded the Enoch calendar. They recorded all their information. Okay, and they left that to us in the Dead Sea Scrolls so we could see that information. So this is significant to us because in the Gregorian calendar, we have an expression called once in a blue moon. Now, what a blue moon means is that any month, if you have a full moon on the first day or the 30th or the 31st day, you have 2 full moons in 1 month, okay? That's called a blue moon, okay? That's according to the Gregorian calendar, once in a blue moon, that's that expression. Well,
are you familiar with the expression, brother?
We'll have to hear it again.
The blue moon, once in a blue moon?
Well, it's funny because growing up in Toronto, I lived north of the city, so to take the bus at nighttime, they would have what was called the Blue Moon routes, and it would go all night long, and you could still get, kind of close to home. There was a way, but you had to take the Blue Moon bus. So yes, I have heard that. Once in a blue moon, he's just complaining.
Well, the blue moon thing is when you have 2 full moons in 1 month. Right? And we had this last year. That happened. I think it was October. Look back, double check. But 2 full moons in the same month. So when you have that happen on the Gregorian calendar, you can clearly see that you're going to need to add an extra month in that year, because how many 12 moons is 12 months, but it's going to be 13 moons. It's going to be 13 moons, right? Because we had a blue moon.
that same thing they determined by studying the Enoch calendar, studying the sun, moon, and stars, and everything else, that the full moon would be on the first day of the first month.
What?
Now let's take a look at what the
No. The first day is the new moon. It's the tiny sliver that we see after the sun sets. It's not a full moon. Where did he come up with that? That's the 15th day of the month. And when the new moon is sighted, as she rises full, the sun sets. Every single time. You can't miss it.
Yeah, there's a lot of disinformation in here.
Calendar that they look like, to show you an example of what it looks like. All right, guys, here's a document where someone charted out for us the lunar cycles in the calendar. I can post this if you're interested. But what you can see here is when they have the first month. Okay, you can see this is Abib, and you see the fourth day. Okay,
so we've got PSYOP going already. You don't start on the fourth day. The first day of the first month. First day of first month. So we've got PSYOP stuff. We have this, I like this, sort of. It says first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and Sabbath. That's the problem I have with it. If it said seventh there, much, 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 much better. But if you were to label these things like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you can really clearly see the PSYOP. But he's going to point out new moons, and he's going to point out, so his scheme here, there's ways of, what is it?
the calendar starting on the fourth day. You see it says FM. That means full moon. So what they observe here is on the fourth day and on a full.
So they're starting the calendar on a full moon on the supposed fourth day. This is really messed up, like super crazy messed up.
Full moon. You have a full moon on the first day of the month. Okay, so this is the first day with the full moon, and the 30th day of the month also has a full moon. Okay, so that's what we call a blue moon, where you have a full moon twice in 1 month. So what they did is they recorded lunar cycles within the Enoch calendar over this course of time, and that began on that first year. Okay, so that determined their first year, and then it changes. Okay, it's not the same every year. Here you can see the new moon is there. So the moon cycle changes each.
The moon cycle changes, yes. So that's the big point, that on the Enochian calendar and the Hebrew biblical calendar that the festivals were kept on, the new moon cycle, it changes on the Enochian completely. It does, absolutely, but not on the true Hebrew biblical calendar, because it's always watching the new moon.
Each month, it's not always the same every month, okay? But they recorded this, and they gave this to us in different records of a period of 6 years. Now, here's our notes for the video, and as you can see, we have the year starting. It starts on the year on the fourth day. Okay, we read Genesis. We saw that. We could see the Sabbath, and
the fact that lights in the firmament, the sun, moon, and stars were created on the fourth day has nothing to do with the keeping of the calendar. Nothing to do with it. But there's other decent information in here.
The first month, okay? And then, as we explained, the equinox and the Enoch calendar, okay, the sun rises in the fourth portal. Now, the fourth portal is basically a way of saying the spring equinox. And the 31st day, okay, there's a day of, a month of 31 days preceding the first day of the first month, okay? That's the sign. It's called a Tekufa. We have another video on that. We can have links to all this, guys. But on that day...
Well, that makes sense, because the Enochian calendar has 364 days, but they would need to have one more day in their last month to work out to the equinox, because they would come to 364. They would have one more day, and then you would have the equinox, and the Enoch calendar would start over again, but it's not in sync with the new moons. Not.
Day, it's a day of equal night and day. Equal 12 hours daytime, equal night. Okay? Concluding the spring equinox, a total of 364 days, but there are 4 intercalary days that are not reckoned in the year. Thus, we have a calendar of 360 days, just like it says in Genesis and Revelation. Now, as we could see there, the Dead Sea Scrolls had indicated a full moon on the first day of the Kodesh, of the month, okay? That's year 1. Now, through the course of time, my first calendar was in 2014. So there's 8 years of doing the Enoch calendar. So in our 8 years of research, we found this prophecy here in Psalm 81, which confirms this full moon on
I'm going to skip through this section. It's
the first day of the Kodesh. So let's look at it.
It's not too important, but we get to some decent stuff when he brings this up.
Our solemn feast day. So what have we learned? We've learned that we're looking for 3 criteria to start our year. Okay? We're looking for the 4th day to be the first day. We're looking for a Wednesday. We're looking for the spring equinox.
We are looking for a Wednesday. We are looking for a Wednesday. This is as crazy as saying that Saturday is the Sabbath. Right? He already proved in his own words that the month is 29 or 30 days long. 29 or 30, 29 or 30, 29 or 30. If there's 7 days in the week, that's 28 days. The idea that you could take a named day like Saturday or Friday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or any one of those named days and label it as Sabbath is this crazy idiocy that hurts me. Like anybody that thinks that you can pick one of those days and then the next month it's going to be the same day, like that hurts me to think that somebody could think that. It's painful. If there's 29 or 30 days in the month, the day of the week is going to change each and every month. It's obvious. So for him to say 4th day is Wednesday, it's equally as painful. It hurts.
And we're also looking for a full moon. This would indicate to us the first day of the first month of the first year. This does not obviously happen every year. So the spring equinox, we're assuming, is going to be March 20th every year. Okay, we're just assuming that's the same.
The spring equinox is going to be March 20th of each and every year. We're assuming that's going to be the case. His calendar that he's going to show people based off of what he says the equinox is not going to be March 20th. It's going to be March 17th. So like this is all about trying to support the 4th day and Wednesdays. So this entire table right here is all about looking at when the full moon is and when the closest Wednesday to it is. So like you have to be so screwed up to be looking for the closest Wednesday to the equinox, right?
Yes.
You have to be so screwed up to be looking for the closest Wednesday. He's already saying we're going to assume March 20th is always the equinox because that's the way the fake Jews, right, say that the way they set their calendar up, the way that they always get Easter Sunday and all that kind of stuff is based off of the mathematics of always having March 20th equinox, regardless whether it's the equinox or not, because it's not always March 20th. In fact, his own calendar, he sets it March 17th because he says that's the equinox.
March 20th, year by year. So what we're looking for is when is this 4th? So the spring equinox, we're assuming, is going to be March 20th every year. Okay, we're just assuming that's the same. March 20th, year by year. So what we're looking for is when is this 4th day coinciding with a full moon. All right. Now, what we've done is we've kind of observed this over a course of a few years, the best that we can by just searching full moons in calendars. Okay. And
all right. So I'm going to cut this down, make it simple. Basically, when you look at these years and you try to find the closest Wednesday to the full moon, that 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, 5 years. This is how often you get Wednesday close to the full moon on either March 19th or 20th. So he's given himself a window 19 or 20. Over here is when it actually happens. You could actually see his fingers are in the way, but one of these dates is just, he says, I'm including this because it's within a week, right? It's within a week. And this is the timetable that you end up with, looking for the closest Wednesday to the full moon. This is craziness, people. It's out there. This is pretty much the end of this video. I know you've got some clips that have to do with the gates and all that kind of stuff, but do you think people got the point that if the month is 29 or 30 days long, that the idea of keeping Sabbath on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday is crazy? Like, out there crazy? He debunked himself? I don't know. I'm not sure if you're there.
Yeah, it's crazy that he debunked himself, and I'm glad we went through it and showed everybody the way that it all works. You know, we just got to keep doing it. So I guess I can go ahead.
Yeah, you're gonna show the gate stuff.
Sure. Want me to screen share? Yeah.
I don't know, brother. Why did these guys, we have been covering this. We've got videos looking for the true biblical Hebrew calendar. We've already pointed out that anybody that would pick a name day of the week is off the rocker. This is one of the things we brought up with Adam Parable of the Vineyards crew. And I have yet to have a single person from that crew say what day of the week that they're willing to say the Sabbath is on, because I know that they're not moving it from month to month like you would have to follow the actual Sabbath. So it's one of the big debunks of that crew as well. Also, the fact that Adam is not showing anybody how to use a sundial. He told them it's ancient wisdom. Why not show people how to use that sundial to prove when the equinox is? Well, I know, because it debunks the Freemason New World Order AE map and model that he promotes.
That's correct. So just looking here on what I have on screen, this is one of Leeland's videos called 2021 Enoch Calendar Year 600, 1000, or 110. And it's interesting because he's got these Kabbalistic type drawings that he's put things on and color coded and tried to make these earthly idol images, right? This isn't the way that we were commanded to do it. But go ahead. But the problem is he's got the equal gate here for where the sun rises due east and sets due west. He's got it pointed at the 11th month, right? It should be more this way, right, on the screen. But that's just one thing. Then he's got this one here where he's got a bunch of other things that he tries to tie it all together, and it's really not the best. So let's go ahead and hear what he has to say about the gates, the portals.
In the 10th month, and then the amount of sunlight returns again to the spring equinox. So the book of Enoch describes those points as the 31st day. Okay, 31st day, 31st day, 31st day. And there's also portals by which these would appear. Now, most of you are not used to this, but when you look at the horizon, like let's put this, okay, right here. And if you look at the horizon and you find the spring equinox, if you find that on a point in the horizon, now let's just look at the horizon and illustrate this, okay? So if we're looking east, and we are looking east, but let's just have this a point of reference. Let's just say the sun rises right there at that point, okay? And then from there, let's say that's the spring equinox. At that point, the sun is going to move on the horizon each month. Enoch calls that a portal, okay? So the amount of space between one place and the next one is a portal, okay? So this is portal number 4, and then it's going to go to another space. And in the summer, that's portal number 5, number 6. Okay, then it comes to portal number 7. So we'll submit to you that the book of Enoch says it stops at portal number 6, but it makes more sense to have the portal be number 7.
Okay, so this is where we're going to get a pause. let's go over to the book of Enoch, the courses of the heavenly luminaries. Enoch, right? Let's make this a bit bigger so people can maybe see it better. Let's just look at this. It says, the book of the courses of the heavenly luminaries of heaven, and the relations of each according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel, who was with me, who was their guide, showed me, and he showed me all of their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all of the years, the world, and unto eternity, till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. Again, that's after the 1,000-year reign. That's the next timeline that we're now getting from Enoch, which was written before Noah. So then it comes down and it says, and this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of heaven and its setting in the western portals of heaven. And I saw, how many does it say here? It says 6. I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the stars, and those whom they lead, 6 in the east, and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also, many windows to the right and to the left of these portals. And the first there goes forth the great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of heaven, and he is quite filled with an illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to an appropriate time in the portal and shines in the face of heaven. And in this way he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th. And in the 4th portal from which the sun rises in the first month are the 12 window openings, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. So it's telling you how the heat is delineated throughout the year from where the suns rise and where the suns set. So if Jason, if you could put the link in the chat for the correct explanation. I don't know if you have that link open. I just want to quickly flash that on the screen.
What link are you looking for?
The one with the circle of the site and the rising of the moon, the sun, and the way that the shadows work.
You talking about the website?
Yes.
Yes.
Please. I'll just click on it from the chat. And we'll show people the 6 gates, everything that Leeland tried to say. Like, he tries to add an extra gate, and it's really simple the way that we reckon it. And I'm going to show everybody. So people are talking about definitions of pronunciations of words. Yeah, we can talk about that. That's cool.
Yeah, the link's in the chat now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to bring this up, bro. It's quite the tool, and I just so wish we had the exact same features with the path of the moon and the path of the stars. So this is one of the things that we've begged people that care about the truth, that have 3D modeling skills, to actually help us with. But if we could do the same thing that this site does with the path of the sun, if we could do the exact same thing with the path of the moon and the path of the stars, it's really completely over. We would never need to go and do any other thing on anything else other than just show people the path of the sun, moon, and stars around the observer. It's super amazing stuff.
So we're in Israel here on the map. I've dropped the pin, right? So let's have a look. Let's drill in here. So here we go. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are your portals. This is where the sun rises and sets. When I move the date, here, let's bring the sun closer to set so you can see it. Or actually, let's go to the rise. Even though, actually, they're the same. The rise and the set are the same. So as we see, let's move this down a little bit more, just as it's setting, okay?
You know what? I'm seeing a pretty truncated version on the stream. I want everybody to see all of this because there's so much.
Should
so
I
much
zoom
good
out a
stuff
bit?
in it.
Zoom out a bit. Oh, zoomed out too far. And if I move my view, there. Zoom in a bit more. The rectangle's getting in the way. Let me turn the rectangle off, everyone. Because this is important, right?
Yeah, this is where all the meat of the whole matter is. If you could maybe bump it over where you could show people the sliders, because there's so much detail in those sliders. You get the azimuth, you get the altitude. These are the things that we're trying to make sure that everybody understands, that this is how you measure how the luminaries rotate around you.
Okay, here.
Azimuth and altitude.
I think this is what you want. You want it more like that. Can you see on my OBS?
Yeah, I can.
Do you want me to do it like that?
Yeah, if you can show all that stuff, it's so good. There's so many great details in it.
So here's the date. Here's the time. I've got it. The sun's setting. And so we're in the first month here. And if we go like this. No, sorry, it goes this way. It goes 30 days. And it hits this point. I guess I can move the time a little bit down further. And it enters into the second gate. Or sorry, fifth. Then the time goes on. It goes into the sixth gate. Right here, it goes 15 days to the outside. And then it goes 15 days back to this point right here. This is the problem that Leeland's having, where he's trying to invent a seventh gate, right? There's no seventh gate. Again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just gone through the sixth gate. It's turning about its face and coming back down to the first gate. There it goes. There's fifth, fourth, third, second, first gate. And I'll turn the time back.
It's those outside gates that it goes 15 days one way and 15 days back.
Boom. Goes 15 days to here, to its most southerly route, which destroys the A map and model again. Then it comes back again. 15 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, and then it goes again 15, 15. And then again turns about it, and then back again 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 15 days. Turns around.
And notice that what Ronnie's doing is he's leaving the time of day the same. And look at the path of the sun. If you were taking a snapshot of it each and every day, you would trace out the analemma. The analemma, it's right there. It's so modeled up. Each one of the gates. It's absolutely wild to me that this site has the 6 gates highlighted. It's got all the information. This is what people see. They're like, if you're the person on the ground and you record the sunrise and sunset each and every day, this is it. And look at how local that sun is. It rotates around the observer at the distance of the horizon.
So I hope everybody understands again. So if we come up here, you see the analemma here. Let's move the time back a little bit so we can see it. Here's the analemma where it says 14. If I now move this, you're going to see the sun trace that line. There it goes down. It does a figure 8. Here it comes back. There it goes down. Just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And again, you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates. Exactly the way that it was spoken of in Enoch. I can read the whole book, or you can actually, I'll put it in the chat and you guys can read it yourself, because the book of Enoch is wonderful. Robert Farrell has like one of the best readings of it. He's got it online. He just reads it really well. He's got the whole book there. This is just one book in the collection of canon that we call Enoch. So again, and I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals. and the leaders of the stars, and those whom they lead. 6 in the east and 6 in the west. And I come back to the model again. Here they are. There's absolutely no way to debunk this. This is absolutely the most honest, simple truth that anyone with eyes and a compass and a stick can calculate. Sorry, I'm having issues with my trackpad. Again, here we go. That line right there, this is east. This is due east looking this way. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates. These are 6 gates in the east in which the sun, the moon, and all the stars rise. And when we swing around, we get 6 gates right here, people. Look at this. 6 gates in the west where the sun, the moon, and the stars set. 1, 2, 3. I can draw it with the line. You can literally see the gates. It's really simple. Where is it? Oh, that's the wrong line. So we go back. Why is this not choosing the right line? Here we go. 1 gate. 2 gates. 3 gates. 4 gates. 5 gates. 6 gates. This is exactly what was spoken of in Enoch. He was there witnessing it. He wrote it all down. He was given the knowledge. And we can see this even gives us, if we look, it gives us our azimuth, our declination, and our sun's rise and set. And it gives us all the shadows we need to calculate where we are on the map and what time it is and what time of year. This is it. This is everything we need right here. It's got all the gates. It's got everything that Enoch talks about. It's got the analemma. It shows the snapshot of the sun throughout a whole year. Here it goes. It's coming back around. There it is. But it's not on one of the analemma. I got to line it up better. See? It's following that path. And nobody can debunk it. It's just pure and simple truth. I don't know if we want to... I guess I'll play this again so you can hear what Leeland says.
Now, most of the spring equinox, if you find that on a point in the horizon... Now, let's just look at the horizon and illustrate this, okay? So if we're looking east, and we are looking east, but let's just have this a point of reference. Let's just say the sun rises right there at that point, okay? And then from there, let's say that's a spring equinox. At that point, the sun is going to move on the horizon each month. Enoch calls that a portal. Okay, so the amount of space between one place and the next one is a portal. Okay, so this is portal number 4, and then it's going to go to another space. And in the summer, that's portal number 5, number 6. Okay, then it comes to portal number 7. So we'll submit to you.
So again, there's no such thing anywhere of any 7th portal.
That the book of Enoch says it stops at portal number 6, but it makes more sense to have the portal be number 7. Okay?
Well, and the funny thing, brother, is that we know why he would say it would make more sense that there would be a portal number 7, because we understand that the outside portal goes 15 days out and 15 days back. Mm-hmm. Right? And he's not telling his audience that, and that's the reason why he's adding a portal.
Correct.
And that's the farthest point that the sun would be in the summer solstice. Then the sun will move on the horizon. This is the sun rising every day. We come back to the fall. Okay, see that? And then what will happen is this is back to portal number 4, and then there will be other spaces, okay, that will be 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then the sun would appear. This is approximate, guys. We don't know exactly, but then in the winter solstice, the sun will be here. This will be portal number 1. Then it would begin moving back a month, back. Okay. Okay. Okay, that will be the winter. So then this will back be to the spring. So if we look at our diagram and if we look at it here, you can see this.
I want to toss in there quick that he just debunked Adam Fink parable of the vineyard. All right, you don't get those sunrise and sunset angles on the Freemason New World Order AE map and model, because the sun would always be rising north of east and setting north of west. You would never see south of east and south of west on the Freemason New World Order AE map and model.
This number 4, that is the 4th portal. Okay, that's the spring equinox. And then each month, the sun would move on the horizon.
So it's actually not correct. He has it pointed at the 11th month, Adar, not at the correct month.
Okay.
Yeah, like even his diagrams are completely psyoped out.
Summer solstice. Come back to the 4th portal in the fall, and then begin moving to the winter at the 1st portal. Okay? So that's how we use this diagram here. Now, the next part of the pages of the calendar, you can see this here. Now, on these pages of the notes, we can see 2 more pages. I'll make this available so you can have it at one glance, like we're looking.
Okay, so let's go back. We've got a little bit of time here, and we're going to talk about how his calendars don't work, right? So let's have a look at this. He's going to talk about it, about Sabbaths and stuff.
So,
yeah, there's the interesting thing where you just were, that I don't know if it's too far away again, but on that chart where he shows just a little bit farther, where he shows the shape of the day length. I think it's a little bit back now. It was just before. Yeah, somewhere in between there. He shows a piece of paper. He was picking up a piece of paper off there. That one. So if you look at the 4th gate on that right now, if we take a peek at that, the 4th gate, that's the equinox, right? So the sun is rising 90 degrees east, setting 270 degrees west. But if you look at his chart, his Kabbalistic bubbles on the outside of his, multi-star thing, he's got 4 lining up with 5 on the outside there and 11 on the outside on the other side. And so neither of these days are equinox days, because those are equal day and night. Equal day and night.
And that he's got that up here at 1, right? And 7.
1 and 7.
Right.
So this is just Kabbalistic, satanic, just like symbolism to mess with people's minds, because none of it's true or accurate.
So we'll go back again and listen to him talk about the Sabbaths.
30 days in a month, so it's oriented by 6 times 5. That's 30. The reason for that is every month is 30 days, 30 days, 30 days in the Enoch calendar, okay? Perfect order. So when you look at it, the days, okay, are oriented different than the calendars you normally look at. So normal calendar, let's look at it. So the Enoch calendar, it begins on day 4. That's a Wednesday. Day 4 is a Wednesday. The first day of every year is a Wednesday. Okay, we could see the Sabbath is.
So he's saying every day is a Wednesday. That's like saying that Sabbath is on a Saturday. It's like saying Easter's on a Sunday. And then his calendar only is 6 days wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He doesn't do a 7-day week anymore. So everything's just being psyoped out to the max.
Is Saturday. Okay, so for example, this year, 2021, the first day of the first month is March 17th. So you'll see the number in the top left.
Brother.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he just said in the video that I was covering?
Now refresh me.
The equinox is March 20th each and every year, and it doesn't change.
Well, he contradicted himself.
Yeah, he's saying the equinox this year is March 17th. What? That absolutely goes against exactly what he was saying earlier.
Wednesday. Day 4 is a Wednesday. the first day of every year is a Wednesday. Okay, we could see the Sabbath is Saturday. Okay, so for example, this year, 2021, the first day of the first month is March 17th. So you'll see the number in the top left corner here and here is the day of the month. Over here is the month. So this is month 1, this is day 1, and in the corner, you can see it says March 17th. We zoom in here, okay? See it says March 17th. And of course, over here, we've done the same thing. We're showing you March 17th. So the first day of the first month is March 17th, and then in each corner, March 18th, March 19th, all right? So there you can see the Gregorian date. So all you have to do is look at the Gregorian date and the day of the week, okay? And you can always see it. So this one I just oriented, and you can see this is day 1, and this is day 30. And like most calendars you look at, then you have a space here with no days on it. There's no order here. It's 30 days, but the rows are 7 times 5. It's 35. So then you have 5 days missing. So that's why we orient the calendar, because we see certain orders and symmetries, and that's what we submit to the people. So March 17th, first day, first month. Now, you see this circle here. This is a full moon. Okay, whenever you see the calendar, you see a circle there, full moon. When you see a black circle, that's a new moon. So we do track.
Siren going off. Okay, no. That's a no moon. Right? The new moon is when you see the new sliver of the moon. I'm going to continue to repeat this over and over again.
Well, not only that, if you pay attention now, because we've made it super clear that months are either 29 or 30 days. We even have Leeland validating that. If the Enochian calendar is always 30 days, you can watch his calendar how it does not follow the new moons. All right, so we have the Enochian calendar, or we have the Hebrew calendar that they were using to find the festival days. If they were going by new moons, it wasn't the Enochian calendar, right? Because they're not going to line up. It's not even possible for them to line up.
The moon cycle, okay, and have it on the calendar. So there you can see a full moon on Passover. So if you just want to watch this video and find out Passover is March 30th, okay? Passover is March 30th. First fruits is April 4th, okay? Because you have Passover, then you have unleavened bread, okay? Unleavened bread goes for 7 days. All right, so there you can see in the calendar how we've oriented slightly different than the calendars you're used to. So now once you look at it, you can see that the days go diagonally. So here's the Sabbath here, 7th day of the week. This calendar has the 7th day of the week always, okay? You can see that's the 4th day of the month, the 11th day of the month, the 18th day of the month, 25th day of the month, okay? That's just the way you're used to seeing a calendar in a row like this. But this one, it's going to look slightly different. I'll zoom in to where you have the 4th day, okay? And then diagonally, 11, 18, and 25. So there it just goes diagonally when you look at the day of the week. And they're color-coded so that you can keep track of the day of the week by its color. For example, the first page of the calendar looks like this. And when you look at this here, you can see green is Saturday. Okay, so it's good to have this in color when you print the calendar. And there you
Again, we're going to continue to point out that the 7th day of the week isn't always going to be a Saturday. Never. It's always going to change. Just like your birthday isn't always on the same day of the week every year. If everyone's paying attention to that, you should know this.
Every month, it's going to change if you're going by the moon. Every month.
you can see green, Saturday. Okay, the first day is purple. And you look here, purple is Wednesday. Okay, dark blue is Thursday. Okay. And then light blue, Friday. Saturday is green, right? Then Sunday is yellow. Monday is orange. And here you can see, right here, Tuesday is red. And then it begins with Wednesday again, okay? So if you have this and you have this in color, it's always a reference guide to the day of the week. And the color coding that's on the calendar, okay? So that's something people have found helpful. as a way of determining how to read this if it's a little different than what you're used to. So you have over here the year 2021 in the Gregorian calendar, and we're going to use the year 6110 from Adam because there's confusion sometimes when we come to the other part of the year where the Gregorian calendar changes in January, but the Enoch calendar does not change. So it you can see here that in the 10th month, in the 18th day, this 18th day of the 10th month is January 1st. So in the Enoch calendar, these months, the year doesn't change, but the Gregorian calendar does. Okay, so when we say 2021, well, this is 2022 in the Gregorian calendar. And so that's half of the month 10. It's all of month 11 and month 12. Okay, so that's why we're going to use.
And also, none of the looks like new moons or anything line up with the Sabbaths. Everything to me just looks way off. I don't, he says
new moon, Sabbaths. It's really simple. The Hebrew calendar, the people were watching the luminaries, right? You would see the sighting of the first new moon. You would see it was gone, and then it's back. You see the new moon, and you start counting, and you're going to have 29 or 30 days. And then you'll see the moon again. And they would count this out, and you have some years that have 12 of these cycles, and you have some that have 13. So when we hear about having a blue moon, it should be obvious that we should be looking to see whether or not we need to add an extra month in order to come in correctly behind the equinox. So I don't know if we'll get into it tonight. It might be in the next time we study the calendar, because we're doing all this before the equinox to get everybody up to speed on the topic. But what we're going to be pointing out is that coming into that equinox, we have to have a few things happen. So the new moon, we're going to see, he's saying March 17th. He contradicted himself. He said the equinox is always on the 20th, but his calendar is going to start on the 17th this year. You have to watch and see when the equinox comes in. Now we're looking for the new moon after it, because we have a new moon right before it. Because we had that once in a blue moon month this year, we're going to end up with a new moon just before the equinox, which means we're going to get to the equinox and have to wait to our next new moon, which means that the actual date for Passover or the Lord's evening meal is going to be a month later than what everybody else is saying. And that actually is something that Adam Fink, Parable of the Vineyard, is telling his audience. We're within a day of Passover with Adam. It's going to depend on the sighting of the new moon. We're all going to be paying attention. It's going to be a big hot topic. We're not going to let this one go. We're going to watch for the equinox. We're going to show people how to use a sundial to figure out the equinox, because it amongst the AE mapping model and the globe at the same time. And then we're going to count out the days afterwards. We will fine-tune the true Hebrew calendar, and it's going to be a truth that Team Yahawahashai stands on. And anybody that wants to promote something that doesn't work, that isn't accurate, we're going to call out. It's pretty simple.
Well said. So we should be back Wednesday. Maybe we'll have some current affairs to cover. We don't know yet. We're going to be banging on these points. My last words for tonight is just that everybody asks for forgiveness, that they repent, and that you seek truth with all your heart and everything that you have. Just look for truth. Ask the Father to teach you through his Son and the Holy Spirit. Be thankful, right, for everything that we have, every breath that we have. And I really appreciate everybody that's been in the chat tonight. Some good comments, and just no problems. It's just, it looked like it was a great chat. I enjoyed watching it. And again, this is nothing personal against Leeland. I wish him nothing but truth as a brother. And maybe we'll see him do some changes. Maybe we'll see Dr. Barry come out with when he believes Passover is going to be. I don't think he's made too many videos lately, but we're watching. We're watching all the people that are putting themselves up as teachers here on YouTube. And we're going to try to get to the truth with everybody. And we don't do this out of malice or hate. We do this always just for the simple edification of the truth. That's our goal. I love each and every one of you, and I pray that you all speak to the Father tonight. Have a conversation with him. He is your heavenly Father. He's waiting to talk to you. So just do it. Have the thoughts in your mind and just allow yourself to receive back whatever he wants to send you guys. I know these have been some tough times for certain people, and we're getting through it. The spring is coming. The Passover, or we should say correctly, Yahawahashai's meal, right? The final supper that he had and commanded us to keep. We're going to be following it. We're going to be here. We're going to share it with everybody on the other side of the screen. I love you all. Thanks, Jason, for your edification as well, brother. I think that nobody cares about the truth like you. And thank you to the moderator, Yahweh's daughter, for always doing such a great job.
No, it's been great. It always seems like there's not enough time to get through all the information. But Speak Life Garden says, I don't see where you covered Nick, got links. So I had 2 community guideline strikes in the channel and brought everything down to private. Now that one of those is passed, I'm in the process of bringing that all back up and getting it back public again. So yeah, we will get all those things. I'm going to get it all back up. It just takes time. And, we've covered Nick. We're subbed. And if he speaks on the topic and says truthful things or disinformation things, we're going to cover it. We're all over this calendar thing. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll probably see you all Wednesday. Go Team Yahawahashai.